you ever held someone? Well, of course you have, but I don't mean like when you hold your buddy back to stop him from slugging someone or when a mother holds her child. No, this happens when you're in bed, just about to pass out. Your eyes shudder, your head starts to feel blank, like the room has less oxygen and you're getting lightheaded. Your nose is pressed against the neck fuzz of the most wonderful man. Your arms pull him closer, and at that moment, as your throat feels tight and your head feels loose, you realize how perfect it all is, with just the two of you, laying in bed together. And then comes that terrible waking. The morning I woke and he was gone. Empty bed, empty apartment, empty city. Nothing cute. I don't find him downstairs making breakfast. I don't just catch him with a heartfelt speech right before he drives away. A part of me crumbles, shatters. He's a part of the city as much as any building, any street. Now it seems empty. Empty except for the memories. We would get on night buses and just ride them for hours, talking and watching the city blur by. I feel his presence everywhere. Now I fear the sunset. When the sun goes down, I remember everything we did together, everything that happened in those night hours. I went out searching for him, on foot, through the streets. I didn't know what else to do. It was a mistake. Houses upon houses, they only made me question myself. He could be in any one of them, I thought, just visiting a friend, or a contact, or a dealer, or another boyfriend. His bag was gone, though. He wouldn't stay in Pittsburgh in spite of me, I thought, even though I felt him everywhere. We had met on some benches after one of my classes. He said he was here on business. I introduced him to academia, and he introduced me to pot. We ate at a place that neither of us were familiar with, which was great. Let us joke about the service and the food and the sloppy 50-year-old waitress with the coffee stain on her apron. I said it reminded me of Andy Reid's head. The place is closed since. I kept walking, kept looking. There were too many signs about open housing. Maybe he was going to surprise me by renting a place, by moving here. I stood on someone's porch for a while. Maybe he'll ask me to move in with him. Maybe I need a change of scenery from that back alley apartment. After our third date, he asked if he could borrow some money. I didn't ask why, but he insisted on telling me. Or he would have, but it was a surprise. I carefully calculated how much I could afford to give away, then gave $50 extra. He dragged me into the nearest alley, and we made out for what felt like hours there in the shadows. The money was still in his hands, and it felt weird against my back as his hands roamed over me. I eventually knocked on the stranger's door, lightly at first, but soon my fist throbbed as I pounded against the barrier's wood, begging them to let me in, to let me see him. No one answered. I kicked one of their porch chairs into the street, smashed it against the pavement. I stood over the dotted line, tearing pieces of plastic apart. A car honked, and I scrambled out of its way. Once it passed, I shamefully buried the pieces of the chair in the snow. My guilt would be revealed as the snow melted, but not until then. I ran home, trying to ignore the random things that reminded me of him. A beer bottle sunk into the snow. A housing cart. Nearly every single car. I remember talking on the porch after our third date. It was late at night, and we could see across the rooftops of the city. I remember talking more than I should. I told him about my strict mother, and my lazy boy dad, and my disabled sister. I told him that I wanted to teach middle school, though I secretly still wished I could be an astronaut. He listened and smiled, laughed and hugged me. I found out he had a business internship in New York, but it wasn't until summer, he said. By the time I got home, my throat felt tight and my head loose. The day had grown unexpectedly warm, and the alley was a mess. I couldn't find the energy to care. I sat on the balcony for a while and just watched the city. Later, I'll stupidly follow him to New York City and accidentally land the best job of my life as a college professor. Occasionally, when the day is overcast and it seems like night, I will curse myself for traveling to New York, for being so naive. Every once in a while, I will see someone like him in the streets, and I will be tempted to either punch him square in the face or take him home with me. Sometimes I do. But it won't be the same, and I will be simultaneously thankful and miserable because of that. But I will be thankful for the life I have. For now, though, it's 2 more years of being lovesick in Pittsburgh.